Good evening. Come on in, y'all. Hey, hello. Good evening. Hey, y'all. Come on in. Come on in. Hello. Hey, Brown Fox. Welcome. Hey, y'all. Hello. Brown Fox, I'll be saying hello to you before I even know that you're there. Because I know you're going to be there. Hello. Come on in, guys. Happy Wednesday. All right, I think I might be in. Let me see. Say hello to your roommates as you're coming in. Say hello to your roommates as you're coming in. Hello. Hey, y'all. I see you all. Just making sure I had everybody intact. Hey. And so, good evening. How y'all doing? Hey, I see the hearts. How are you all doing tonight? You well? And so tonight, roommates, we are going to really, we're trending with Mental Health Awareness Month, right? And so we want to ensure that we are literally keeping in tune with taking care of our mental health this month, right? And making sure that we're all good. A lot of people are super excited about tonight's discussion and our topic. So that makes me equally as just really stoked about everything. And so I see y'all. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. Let's jump on in. And so I got to be honest with y'all. I have been really trying to get myself together on so many fronts. And we talked about this last week, and we will continue to talk about this. But if we're not mentally healthy, it's hard for us to completely be okay, right? And so it all ties into one another with being intentional about how we take care of ourselves. And we talked about last week how we put that energy into being physically okay, but sometimes we don't look after those emotional wounds that need that same type of care, right? So I'm going to put some things into perspective for you all tonight. All right. So I've rededicated myself to working out. Yes, y'all, I got about a good 8 pounds that I need to release back to the universe. And I know that may sound minute, but I promise you, it's heavy when you're wearing it and when you know that you want it up off of you. So I was on my Peloton the other day, and I'm not being funny when I'm about to explain what a Peloton is, because I did have someone that asked me the other day, what's a Peloton? I know I've heard the name. So Pelotons are known for their bikes. And so I have a Peloton bike. And I was really intentional about putting it in my bedroom at a sight's view where, I think if I look at it, I'll be inspired to get on it. I got this bike, y'all, back in December, because of course this is my New Year resolution to be more active and to work out more. Because I've been really intentional about working out in the past, but by the grace of God, so many business opportunities and doing things that I need to do it's no excuse. So I cannot even front like we have excuses or I have excuses. So I bought this bike saying that 2025, I'm going to work out, I'm going to do all this, I'm going to do all of that. Well, I have failed myself miserably, okay? And so I finally took a few of the jackets and the t-shirts off that I've used it as a coat hanger. Now, Peloton has the bikes, they have the treadmills, but they have these huge 20 plus inch screens on the devices so that you're able to, even if I'm not riding a bike, I could be tuned in to, what do you call it? Trainers, right? And people who train us to be better athletically, right? And so I don't have an excuse. I can either ride the bike or I could get on there and I can lay my mat out and do yoga or whatever. But I could be working out, and I haven't been. So, but the other day, new start, new day, new week, new month next week. I'm committed because my birthday is in a month's time, and I need to share it and get myself together. Okay, enough about that. But the other day, I was taking a ride on my Peloton, and there was this song called What Love Ain't. But the lyrics within the lyric by Josh Turner, but the lyrics within the song was, I may not know what love is, but I know what love ain't. And so it's a country song, y'all. I've been in love with country music for so many years. I felt like tonight I put on a country inspired outfit. I got my shingles down here. I guess I could potentially stand and show y'all, but I got my shingles, I got my jean shirt. This ain't Texas, it's Chicago. But I'm figuring it out, right? But I took a ride the other day, and the music by my girl, Allie Love. If you got Peloton, or you can look her up, I'm sure, on so many workout platforms. Her name is Allie Love. And so she be singing and inspiring all the time. And I am always drawn to her when I get ready to work out on the Peloton. And so she had this song playing and she was singing it. But what stood out to me was the lyrics of, I may not know what love is, but I know what love ain't. And so that's what we're going to explore tonight, guys. We're going to talk about what love ain't, what it isn't, and all of those good things. And then you guys are going to help me along the way, because I want to hear from y'all. You can drop it in the chat now. What love ain't, okay? It's not a complex question. It's just really a matter of, what do you believe love is not, okay? And so with that being said, I may not be an expert on what love is or what love ain't, but I have a pretty good amount of experience that can help me along this journey, right? And with exploring this with you all tonight. So drop in the chat what love ain't, what you've experienced, what you've seen. And when I say that, it's not just about an intimate partner. I tell you guys this all the time, because we are loved by many people. We are from different walks of our lives. I know I tell people I love them all the time because I know that God is love. And so I'm just really intentional about making sure that I check in with my roommates in that capacity and just always express real gratitude and love towards you all, right? I'm going to start us off with a biblical reference, and then I'm going to get to some of your comments because I do see them rolling in, and I appreciate you all. So let's do it. Our first biblical reference, I got a few tonight, but it's going to come to us from 1 Corinthians 13, 4 and 6. Okay? And so what it reminds us is love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, and it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. And I don't know how much of a shout that is for you all, but the fact that tonight's topic of discussion is what love ain't, that biblical reference is literally a shout, because that is the Bible telling us what love is not in so many words. And so, again, drop in the chat and tell us what it is that love is not. The Bible pretty much just gave it to us, right? And so, with that being said, let me see if I have some of you guys in the chat. My computer is glitching. And so just bear with me for 1 second. Come on in, y'all. All right, all right. And so one of the things that I'm seeing, all right, that love ain't selfish. I agree with that. I definitely agree with love is not selfish. Love is never ending. We really give it over and over and over again. And so I see love is not forced. I like that. It's really organic. In this phase of my life, I tell people all the time, like, I want to deal in things that organically comes to me. Because if we're forcing anything, it just keeps that weird energy in the space. Oh, yes. Thank you, Arthelia. Glad that you were able to catch me as well. And so love is not forced, and love is not, this is what I'm hearing from the chat, and love is not selfish. All right. So I agree with both of those things. We have to really take into account the things that's the love that we see around us, right? And I am here to let you guys know that, yep, love ain't selfish. It gives constantly. It really doesn't have any bounds. And in giving love, it's really often that we have to find that we should really not be seeking anything in return for the value. Okay, so love ain't selfish. Love is not forced, right? Let's take that a step further. Love does not show possession. And when we say love does not show possession, what we're saying is that love knows that it's there. It shows up effortlessly, but it also doesn't show possession. You know, when someone is loving you, it should not be out of any forms of control. And that's what it means when it says that love is not possessive, right? Many of us have been in situations and in relationships where things may feel like it is, you may feel like you're in a controlled environment. I hate to put it like that, but that's what you may feel like. And you're not authentically being yourselves. You are really being calculated with even how you respond to things. And you have to really understand that there's a difference in someone loving you and someone trying to love on you in their own type of way that leads to possession. Because the difference will show in the actions, right? And so we want to make sure that as we are exploring and enduring and giving out the love that, giving out the love that we are attempting to show up how we need to show up in love, we really have to understand that there's a difference between loving someone and trying to own them. And that's what we mean by possession. So I want to just be really transparent really quickly, right? I want you guys to understand that when someone genuinely loves you, they are not doing things to counteract the way that they show up for you, right? It's not that they are, it's not that they should be looking like they are wanting to do some things that have you in a space where you are not okay. Part of me showing up in this topic tonight, there's some apprehension, but I just really want to be as transparent as possible, right? When we are loved properly, it feels organic. It does not take away from who you are and who you're trying to show up as. I'm just going to share really quickly. Have you ever been in a situation where a person may have pursued you as the person that you are? The outgoing person you are, the vibrant person that you are, the giving person that you are, the person that shows up as themselves. And they put forth all of the energy and the effort, right? They put forth the energy and the effort to pursue you and maybe even to get you to be in a relationship with them. But when you show up as that same person, in the relationship, somehow it starts to bother them. Bother them in ways that you are now left being a bit confused. And so when we talk about being controlled in situations, that's exactly what we mean. Right, roommates? You don't want to be in a place where someone wants to approve of who you are from the get-go, but then when you become more involved with them, they start to have either a disdain or a set of jealousy towards you and just who you are organically. So you really want to make sure that you recognize that love may or may not be genuine, especially if it's in any form of control, right? And so love just should not be where someone is trying to control you, okay? Love is not silence. Love is not silence. You should not have to be silenced to be in a relationship that you're in. And I'm really smiling because I just got a message from someone that says that I love you and there's nothing you can do about it. And that's the type of love that we need to be in abundance, that we need to be consistent, that we need to show up in all facets of our lives. Because when love starts to look like control, now you're in a space of trying to figure out, is this the spot that I want to be in? Right? So if you can, just drop in the chat really quick on what does that possessive, someone trying to have possession of you, what does that look like? Which is what love should not be. Right? What y'all got? I see someone saying that love, trying to be controlled in love, comes dressed as a concern, and that's what it should come addressed as. If you are in a situation, roommates, where it just doesn't feel genuine, it just doesn't feel like something that is welcoming and or comfortable, You really need to reevaluate that situation. I really like that. That it should not be disguised or it should not show up where you are feeling concerned about it. Because I'll tell you this, if you are concerned in a space where you should be loved, then that's something you either need to reevaluate for the sanctity of the relationship, or you need to figure out if this is something that you really need to be in. And it might honestly be the same thing, but remember, we're talking about love in this whole, on a whole spectrum. We're talking about from platonic to intimate or relational, right? In a relationship with someone. And so you really want to make sure that it's not dressed up and looking like love, but yet it's causing you concern. It just shouldn't be that. You don't want to be silenced in love, right? If there's a concern, I know one of my biggest concerns in love has been wanting to keep the peace and not being able to express myself. And when I do seize the opportunity to express myself, then what I'm seeing is minimized, right? Or what you're saying is being minimized. You don't have to agree with someone, even in love. You can respectfully disagree. But what it is that you really want to take note of is if you are putting out there, I don't feel comfortable in this space, I don't feel, I don't feel supported in this space, then what are you doing about these concerns that you have, right? And so I see some comments. Give me a moment. And so, why is my comments acting up? Okay, there it goes. All right, and so, yes, you have to be able to feel comfortable in it, and you want to ensure that you are not in a space where things feel forced, right? And so also, communication breakdowns and the consequences of those. And so what that really is saying is that you want to be in a space where when you are interacting with people and you are doing that through love, that the communication breakdown is not there. It's absent of that. And then that you want to understand and outline the boundaries so that there's no consequences. And yes, in any relationship that we have, I don't care if the consequences are we stop talking to each other. And that's one of the biggest things that a lot of people go to because that's the only thing that we really have control over, right? And so we have control over, I'm not going to talk to this person. But when we are working and dealing out of love, that is not the route we should take. So what love is not, to this point, is it doesn't minimize. Love doesn't minimize what it is someone is trying to express that they are feeling in the relationship. And I'll tell you this. Feeling minimized in anything for me is a problem. It's a huge problem. And I know that about me. It's triggering because for many years I have really took the back seat on expressing myself in relationships that mean a lot to me. And so for the sake of getting along to get along, I would just say, okay, we're not going to make a big deal about it because I want to keep the peace in the relationship. But what I want you all, roommates, to understand and to realize is that love ain't doing that to you. Love is not minimizing your space, your role, what it is that you lend to the relationship. It just doesn't do that. Okay? And so I want you guys to understand that you want to be in a place where not believing that love is effortless, because it takes a lot of effort to love someone, right? It takes a whole lot of effort to love someone. So that whole myth about love is effortless, that is not true. Because if you really actually care for someone, you're going to hear them out. You're going to make them feel comfortable in situations. You're not going to be dismissive of who they are and what they bring to the relationship, right? You really want to debunk those myths that, you know, if someone truly loves me, they wouldn't treat me in a certain manner. Roommates, we are all learning how to treat each other and love each other on a continual basis, right? Things does not slow down or stop because we get into a certain mindset. And one thing about us needing to be mentally well is understanding the fact that you can coexist and be in something with anyone without disrespecting them and making them choose you over them, right? And I see y'all hearts and I appreciate it. But you gotta understand a few things. It's not effortless, right? Love takes effort. Love takes you to spend time with understanding the person that you are in the loving relationship with, right? Love is not just about the good times. What stands the test of time when it comes to love is patience. When we just talked about a moment ago, love is patient, love is kind. See, you don't need a cookie for being kind to people, or you don't get a gold star for being patient with people, because that is something that the Bible really expresses that we should do, or instructs us on what to do in that area, right? Love does not pit what's right against what's wrong. We all have done something wrong in some capacity of our lives or another. We have. We've all done things that we are not proud of. But think about if someone held against you everything that you ever done to them. But also on the flip side of that, think about the people or the persons that never ever express love in the correct way. And we all know what that looks like for each of us. It looks different, right? And that's where that understanding comes in at. And we learn to understand that it's not just about oneself when you're in a reciprocal loving relationship. Okay? And so excuse me. God bless me. Real love sticks through awkward, boring, and painful moments. Roommates, drop in the chat something that may be awkward, boring, or painful moments for you. I'll speak for myself. So, boring moments for me in my relationships looks like me not wanting to do anything. So, as vibrant as I may be, as talkative as I may be, as expressive as I may be, when I'm in a comfortable relationship with someone where I am validated in my spaces, validated in my feelings, and in that space where love feels right, that's when you're going to get the best of me, and that's probably when someone is going to get the best of you. It's not no extracurricular to show up in that relationship, right? So that's kind of back to the effortless part, right? But one of the things that may be kind of awkward and boring about me is that you get to see, this podcast has been a gift on so many levels. And so people recognize who you are. They take heed to what it is that you're saying. And I don't ever want to be in a space where I'm mishandling my roommates or this platform, right? But I gotta be honest, if you get me in my most authentic space where I don't have to give too much energy or give too much effort, like I'm probably is a woman of very few words, right? I'm really quiet. I wanna gather my thoughts because I'm constantly moving. And so, roommates, if you're not in a space where you can be authentically yourself at all times, when you need to be quiet, when you need to be up, when you need to be down, when you're motivating people, like you will understand that it's a gift and people have to accept you in its totality, right? But let's go on to some of the more touchier spaces when it comes to what love is not, okay? Love is not a fix. When we are in things that are broken, and when we are in spaces that are broken or spaces that we've outgrown, we may find ourselves trying to have love as a crutch to be the antidote for everything being okay. No, love is not the only fix. Love requires patience. It requires kindness. It requires us being in tune with one another, effective communication. It requires all of these things. And what we really have to understand is that with understanding that love is not a fix, we also understand that we cannot love someone into healing. Yep, y'all see that segue? We cannot love anyone into healing. If you are meant to be in a situation with a person, you are going to be in a situation with a person. I've said this once, and I'll say it 1,000 times. And we've all heard this or seen this in memes. Like, you lose people that you thought you could not live without, but look at you living in shit, right? And so you work so hard on relationships out of love. But what I need you all to understand, roommates, is that love is not a fix. Love is not going to fix that tumultuous relationship. It is not going to fix those toxic traits in the person that you're in the loving relationship with. It is not going to rescue you or the person from the things that are there that are bothersome to you. Love is not the fix. Love is a lot of things, but it is not the fix. It takes each of us to be equally invested in everything that it is that we're supposed to do. All right? Is it anything else that love is not? You got some, Phoenix? I got a bunch of stuff. Talking to my executive producer. Love is not codependent. Love is not codependent. We should be able to operate in and out of love, dependent of our environments, dependent of our loved ones, dependent of circumstances. We should be able to operate in love outside of those things. Love isn't enough. It is not enough. It is not codependent. And then in that, we should not be pitting codependency and have that to be equivalent to support. Because those things are extremely separate from one another. So in codependency, I need you to be okay. In support, you support me with being okay outside of you. And so we don't want to compare the two. We don't want to compare codependency and have it to look like support. Okay, roommates, I want you guys to be very, very, very clear about that. Love is not transactional. Just because you do right by someone or something, it does not mean that you're going to get that in return. And that's the transactional piece of things. I do this, you do that. And so that's why it's best for us to make sure that we are being transparent in our transactions. If you're not looking for more, you express that. If something is not suiting you, you express that. If something is making you question your values, you address that. So I don't want us to get caught up on this transactional love, because that's the quickest way to get outside of something. And so the reason I am talking about this subject, guys, and it may seem like I'm just running down a bunch of things of what love is not, but in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month, I want you guys to not be crippled by what love is not, because a person is showing up and giving you bare minimum, or because a person is showing up and even giving you something that may be extra. It could be money. I lived in a relationship far beyond its expiration date out of benefits. And I'm not minimizing the relationship. But because of so many things that showed up as what love is not, it's not abusive. It doesn't take advantage. It is not codependent. It isn't awkward. It isn't painful. And because at the time I couldn't see that, I believed that the love that was being presented is what love was. And it was not that. So roommates, what I want you guys to do is really take in the fact that because someone is presented themselves in quote unquote love, you really still need to do your research, and you need to dig deep and understand if it's something for you or if it's not for you. Okay? And I may be late over here because I'm looking at comments that happened a while ago. So it's saying that some of the things that love is not is that lack of communication, right? And not being judged for when you're not always completely yourself. Everybody should be able to turn off, right? We present to the world what we intentionally want to do. Now, don't take this in no other way other than out of respect for people, out of love for people, we move in a way that we want to ensure that we're spreading to the world the light that we are and the love that we have to offer. But you all have heard the statement that even the strong get weak. Even those of us that spread the most love, sometimes it feels like it's never, ever going to be reciprocated. I know so many people who are tired of being loved bombed. Love bombed. And somebody drop in the chat for me. What is being loved bombed? Hey, old faces. All right, I got somebody saying that I hate when people say men need to love women more. Why can't we love each other equally? Love is loving yourself first before you can love anyone else. I honestly love both of these comments. Also, someone is saying that, Dee Dee is saying that some people are raised on survival and not love. I'll say this. I feel like I was raised on love, right? But out of love, I learned to do more loving that along the way, some people were not able to reciprocate that. So that may align very well with what Dee Dee is saying with the fact that some people are raised on surviving. And drop a little bit more about that in the chat, because definitely being raised on survival, you know what that means. It means that you didn't have the institution of love and or stability and or acceptance, right? And so the opposite of all of those things are like rejection or instability, or the fact that, you know, you kind of get this generational effect of what love looks like. I know a bunch of people that is so uncomfortable with being told that I love you. Extremely uncomfortable with those 3 words because, one, they don't exercise it, and simply they don't exercise it because a lot of it was not exercised towards them. They didn't have people telling them they love them. And so that type of stuff does look different to many of us, right? Love isn't a title. It's not. Love is an action. Love is only shown in action. And the word love can be a double-edged sword. Because you can tell me you love me, but then if your actions show otherwise, now I'm confused. And remember, we always talk about the enemy is the art of confusion. There's no way that we're both involved and I'm confused about something that we're going through. Or I'm confused about, if I am confused, then you should have the capacity and the propensity to clear it up for me. I shouldn't have to seek other outlets. So I love that you just said that, Martini, because love is not, it's exactly, it ain't that. It's not that you are, that you're not understanding that love is ever present, right? So let's shift really quickly before we go to our closing segment. And so what is it that is a misconception about what love is that you've learned that it's really a misconception? I'll say this. The misconception about love that I have is that there's been people that I expected and that I want to like give love to and hold them so close to me and never let them go. But it's hard for them to reciprocate that. And so now we're back to that confusion. What makes a person go from saying that they love you to showing you that they love you? Right? And so what does that look like? I'm going to tell you guys right now. We may get very few comments tonight, but so many people are struggling with trying to figure out what is their role in other people's lives. And what even further complicates that statement that I just said is you believe that you've given a person all that you can give them. Roommates, I am here to unmuddy the waters. Once you've given all that you can give, it's either meant to be or it's not going to be. It is not going to happen if there is just no alignment there. I seen a meme the other day that said something along the lines of, and let me see if I can find it, because to be honest with you, it's certain things I like to get exactly and right on the money. So hold on, give me 1 second. I think I put it here. But it really was along the lines of, you want the love so bad that you forgot to check the temperature of where it was when it was being handed out. And essentially what that is saying is that even though you geared yourself up or you gave all that you could give in the relationship to ensure that you showed up in love, that person just doesn't have the capacity to give it to you in return. So what are you doing on those fronts? What are you doing, spaces, roommates, where you're giving your all, you're showing up authentically yourself, and it seems like no reciprocity is anywhere in sight? I'm seeing a lot of amens. Thank y'all. I see some, if I love them, they will love me back. A lot of men equate love to providing. Some people don't know how to accept love. All of those are so good. But Sean, I would challenge you to give me a little bit more about a lot of men equate love to providing. I'll tell you what I think it means. I'll actually give you a quick story. So being in an abusive relationship, and you really think that a person cares for you based off the things that they do for you, not to you, for you. And you stick around a little bit longer and a little bit longer and a little bit longer, just simply based off the benefits of the relationship. And when I say the benefits, it's probably financial. It's probably in some capacity where it's maybe helping you advance to the next level. I have stuck around in relationships simply out of what was provided versus what was shown. And so, roommates, I don't want you to sell yourself short in situations like that. Because someone has the capacity to give you things, that doesn't mean that they have the capacity to love you properly. And so you have to be able to differentiate between the two. You have to understand that because of the propositions can really be a form of control. I can speak to it extremely personally. Like, I didn't miss a beat financially, but emotionally I was drained. Emotionally I was abused. Emotionally I was torn down. Emotionally I lost myself trying to keep this person. And so that's not what we're doing. Because anything that God provides for you, whether it's by way of man or a job, if he done it once, he'll do it again. Because God is the only provider. Yeah, he don't come down himself and do it. But he will bless us in those givens. He will bless us in the going in and the coming out. He will make us the lenders and not the borrower. Right? He will keep us on a path of being kept. I ain't bragging, but I'd had my years of being kept. And what that means is not on a level of braggadocious. When I didn't have it, he provided a man that would. When I couldn't take no more of the lack of love, the true love, he provided it in the form of a great job. When I needed a little extra, some came out of the Woolworth. And when I needed a little bit more, he prepared me for it. So I'm here to tell you guys, roommates, you do not have to accept a person providing for you as the staple or the billboard of love. Because they'll do it for you. But the ones that are truly loving you genuinely are the ones who would do it with you, who would do it for you, who would do it on your behalf, who would stand in the gap for you, and who would not use it as a control mechanism. Okay? Are y'all showing out? Because if they provide for you, you should know they love you, whether they treat you good or not. Sister, you got me scratching my head. Listen, I thought that for such a long time. But the only person who is going to provide for you without looking for anything in return, even if it's simply love, is God. Yep. And I stand by what I said. All right. And so Before we go to our closing segment, I've got to give you these last few things that love is not. Love is not fear. And not just fear, but the fear of being alone. Sometimes we overstay our welcome out of fear of being alone. And sometimes we overstay our welcome out of the fear of simply leaving. I have stayed my course too long in situations that didn't suit me out of both of those. Out of fear and out of the fear of being alone. Let me hit it to you. You're going to be all right. Okay? And then, so I'm going to pose this question to you guys before we go to closing segment. In love, whether it is a friendship, your family members, a man or a woman that you are involved with, in love, when do you know it's time to walk away? In love. Again, on any spectrum of loving someone. It could be your kid, it could be your job, it could be the man or woman of your dreams, it could be your family, it could be your friends. When do you know to walk away? I'll give you guys my take. It's a couple of ways that I know when it's time to walk away, even out of love, because love ain't. So all these things we just said that love is not. Okay, I know to walk away when there's no respect, when all of the boundaries are being crossed. Ooh, somebody said trust without confusion is solid love. I like that, Martini. Stand in the fear of the unknown. That's it. We definitely will stay. When you no longer feel appreciated. Now I know people will tell you don't go off feelings, but you know that's a bunch of bullshit when it's you with another person. It's definitely based off feelings. But what we gotta know and understand is that no matter what you feel for a person, you don't stay simply because you feel that way about them. You stay because of the way they make you feel about them, not because of what you feel about them. Let's clear that up. Love doesn't make you stay because you simply love them. Love should make you stay, roommates, because of how they make you feel in loving them. Okay? Staying because of the fear of the unknown. Listen, child. I know I overstayed my part in many other segments, in many other spaces. And we're not saying to just go ahead on and forget about everybody and not make sure that love is at the forefront of everything. We're simply saying that we are not allowing love to cripple us to stay. We're not being that crazy. Nope. It doesn't make sense. It needs to make sense for everyone. Okay? And so, before I go to closing segment, okay, I got a couple people saying it depends on the boundaries that they cross. And when you see no progression, no understanding, that people grow and change as time goes. Woo, y'all heating up at the end. When you have given all that you can give, roommates, and you literally see that there is nothing that's going to come out of that. You can't be the only understanding one. You can't be the only one that's willing to grow. You cannot be the only one that is willing to sacrifice. You cannot be the only one that has, that exerts certain feelings. It has to be some reciprocity involved. And it can't be gaslighting and it cannot be manipulation. It really needs to be substantiated energy, effort, love, progression, and understanding on both parties. Love is a work in progress. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. I have watched myself in situations where I was minimized to having to accept the relationship based on envy. You are not crazy. You are not overzealous. You are not out of tune to recognize when the weird energy enters the space and the sincere, genuine, showing up as if you want to accept me and showing up as if you want to support me. When that goes out the window, you've not lost your mind. Now, I'll tell you this, and I promise you I'm going to close the segment. I've never been one to stand on being above other people. And so with that, it's hard for me to say that people are envious or people are this or people are that. But folks on the outside looking in will say those type of things, and I will always combat it. My best friend on here, she'll tell you. I will combat it like, jealous of what? Right? You show up in love. You show up as yourself. You show up authentic. You're not showing up to try to be in a space that has someone to feel less than. But I'll tell you this, roommates. Your light is a light. It's real. And when people are attracted to you for exactly who you are, people who are in dark places, that light irritates the fuck out of them. It takes them to places of hatred and envy that you yourself can't even have room to receive, let alone be able to fathom. How could someone even feel like that about you? Roommates, I want you to know and I want you to understand that in my closing segment, I am going to read off to you all a saying by a content creator named Eric Wilson. And this is what he says. I acted fine, so you'd stay. I didn't bring up the things that hurt me. Didn't ask for more. Even when I needed it, I laughed when I wanted to cry. I nodded when I wanted to scream. Because I thought if I stayed soft, if I stayed easy, you'd stay too. But shrinking isn't the same as being loved. And silence isn't the same as peace. For the ones who made themselves small to be kept. Roommates, we are no longer shrinking ourselves to fit in environments that don't accept us. We are purposely and intentionally growing. We are soaking up everything we need to soak up, becoming big sponges, and we're breaking ourselves out of the box. I sit here week in and week out, wondering sometimes who really loves me, but not losing myself, even in not understanding who do and who don't. Put your best foot forward. Continue to be guided by whom God is and his direction for your life so that you can seek, attain, and maintain the purpose for your light and your life. Be unapologetically yourselves. Be intentional about your mental health. Be intentional about your peace. I once had a man to tell me, if you can't be my peace, I don't need you around me. But I also once reminded a man that fuck your peace if my peace is not taken into consideration. Roommates, Be your own peace. Have them to understand. You don't need them to stand tall, but you need them to be sincere and genuine in the love that they have for you. And if they cannot show up in the definition of love that you understand it to be, you chuck them the deuces, and you remind them of what love ain't. Roommates, we did it again. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm thankful for you all. Good night.